Did you ever do a really nice painting? Well, I think it's really nice. And then you need a frame for it. Okay, I think we got it perfect now. Well, I'm really disappointed with myself. Just a little towel, I think it's too much. I'm going to try to speak up a little clearer this time because I was a mumbling mumbler on the last video. But anyway, I've got some of these planks and I've already glued part of this together. But they're the boards you get for like those beds, the slats. There's two boards here glued together and not the best glue. But one thing you notice is on these kind of boards on the edge here, these are like rounded over from the machining when they make it. So when you glue them together, you get this. We don't want that. We want it to be all flat and flush. So first of all, I'll show you how to use a hand plane to get this all nice and square and flat. So I have this hand plane that I bought. I went to like an antique store. You probably can get them for less expensive if you go online or just go to garage sales. But this is an old, I don't even know what year it is, but it's a, you can see the maker there. Get it out of the shadow. It's a Stanley R&L Company Bedrock. I don't know what year it is, but it's a number 606. Or is it a, no, it's 606, not a 909. But anyway, I think there's different names for them. This was a fluted bottom, so it's supposed to ride over the surface easier, so not as much surface is touching the wood when you're planing. But I think they consider this one a joiner. Well, I guess one thing I should tell you too, when you plane, you want to try to get the grain of the wood so that it works with the plane, not against the plane. And you can kind of see here, and I don't know if I was very good on this either because I glued two together and I might have done it with, you know, the opposite direction of the grain. And you want to try to keep this as flat as you can. Don't get tilting either way because then you won't have a square edge. So, you can see I've made a peak in the middle there. I want it to be flat. So I did totally what I said I didn't want to do. So you can see I'm down past the round part now, so where it's glued together, it's actually a nice gluing, except for my terrible planing. I usually do much better. Must be nervous. Camera makes me nervous. Yeah, I'm still breathing hard from doing the planing. But I just basically cut out a spot for the chisel to go into and then a relief. And then I set a gauge here for the depth, and then I've also got a gauge here that I can move for the width. And this was actually from Paul Sellers. He's got really, really cool woodworking videos. He's way better than I am. Yeah, I just made this from spare parts and washers and screws that I had around and an old chisel. And I'll show you how it kind of works. I'm adjusting the depth of the chisel and the plane, so if you whack the back, it moves the chisel actually back into the wood. So now I've done too much. I was a little too deep there. So just give it a little tap. There we go. Now we're cutting. A little tap. Just a little tap. I think that's too much. That's too much. Just a little tap. Not enough. A little tap. A little tap. Okay. I think we got it perfect now. The shavings are supposed to kind of curl up and around here, and then I made this guard with just a piece of plywood. It's kind of cool because then you see the black glue in between each layer on the plywood, but I didn't think about it, so I just put it on there and didn't cut this wedge shape out, or the ear shape, and then the shavings would just get jammed in there. So then I ended up coming back with a chisel and kind of making a nice round shape. Down now where I'm resting on the depth stop on the plane. My groove cut. It's not the best one, but I don't have to use all of it. I can use part of it. But anyway, it works. And what's cool about these planes, all you gotta do is just have a little mallet, which I made this too out of some eucalyptus in our backyard, a branch, cut it out. You can see I need to get a little more practice on my mortise, and I whacked it really hard one time, and it broke. I glued it back together. It works pretty good. It's a nice little hardwood. I like the red. It's really kind of pretty. But anyway, so I'm going to go to the next step and start measuring and cutting the miters. I'm going to do this all by hand, so it's a lot more work. Well, I'm really disappointed with myself. So excited about making a video. I got ahead of myself. I'll show you what I'm annoyed with. Is you can see how terribly unflat this edge is here, and it's like that all the way down. Now you probably just think I'm a terrible carpenter, which I'm not the best, but this, you can see I did a really good job. Now this piece one here, this piece here that I've glued on extra, I put up higher on the board so I can come back with my plane and I can plane it down so that it perfectly matches with the two boards I already had glued together. So it'll be really nice. Be a real, let's see, here's one. I did the same thing, and see, now I've got it planed down. It's kind of hard, let's see. There you go. But I got it all planed down nice, it's all flush. So this one's ready to go. So that this makes a little bit more sense, I'll show you what I'm planning on. As this will sit over the painting like so. This guy over here. This piece will sit like this. And I thought about actually keeping the edges square like that. Just cut them nice flush, and which is different. But normally what you do is you put a 45-degree angle cut on both pieces. You make a miter basically. But yeah, so that's what it'll be like, except for it'll go around all the four corners. So I'm going to work on cutting these, and I might, look at my big mess here of my planes, hammer. I'm using this, it's hard to see, selfie stick as my GoPro camera tripod. It works okay. But yeah, you can see here there was a knot at the end here, and it does, planes don't like knots, and so it jumped all over the place. But I'll end up cutting probably a lot of this off. I'll make this one of the shorter side pieces if I don't just go and reglue a couple more pieces together. But we'll see. We'll try it out. Alright, well here's a sneak peek. I did another video on the chainsaw mill, and it's separated out here in the two pieces. I kind of showed how it went together, but as you can see, I milled a whole bunch of pine. I did it about 1 inch. And this is about the thickest part of the tree here. And pretty cool. I still have about 2/3 of the tree left. And then here's a couple of chunks I cut out too that might be neat. It's got some cool grain and stuff. I might make like little end tables or... Whoa, as I break the garage door. Try. If you don't succeed, try again. But anyway, kind of neat. So, and I might cut a big chunk that's thicker as well, and then we can knock the bark off. It's hard to knock off, but knock the bark off at some point, and we get that live edge table that people like. So anyway, back to the building the frame for the... What are we doing? Oh yeah, we're building a frame for my painting.